There are a lot of folks out there up in arms about this movie, Sound of Freedom, and what they saw in it. But many haven't stopped to take a breath and realize that perhaps maybe there's another agenda at play. Something else is going on, and I have proof for it. And it ties everything together. There's a game going on in Washington, D.C. right now, and it's much bigger than anyone thinks. How many of you remember when President Joe Biden said, "Our nation's children are all of our children"? What if I told you he wasn't the first president or leader to say that? Many are familiar with the line in the movie, "Because God's children are not for sale." I've got something to show you, and it's probably going to bother some people. It's so controversial that it has to be at Patreon. It's the only place we can put up this kind of information, and that's why I have it set to the lowest possible allowable level at Patreon, which is $1. I get emails from Patreon all the time. You really need to up your minimum charge to $3. Most people are, and I'm like, no, absolutely not in this economy. There's just no way. People need to know this stuff, and I need to be able to partner with Vimeo and use your platform to get this information out. It's just the way it is. It keeps it away from Google. It keeps it away from their censoring, prying eyes. And trust me, go there. Sign up. If the information is not for you, you don't believe it, or you don't think, it's worth the $1, for the first 90 days, your dollar is fully refundable. Over there, you can privately inbox me and say, wasn't what I thought. I gave it a shot, did the best I could, but, I would like my dollar back. Absolutely not a problem. So no risk whatsoever. Trust me, it's definitely something. It's a connection that you're going to want to see, because nobody else is talking about it. Now, the big thing that people are talking about is this hearing at Congress and this UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial, alien, biologics, all this nonsense. They are playing word games. This guy, David Grush, former intelligence official, is just like the rest of them in the sense that they love to play word games to make you believe one thing when they're actually saying another. And I'm going to try to outline this in this video. Having served in intelligence myself, trust me when I tell you, they are masters at manipulating syntax and lexicon and saying things in just a certain way so that they're not technically lying and they're not technically giving away too much information. Now, when you know how to read what they're saying, it's what they're not saying that points to the truth. All of these craft that you are seeing in our skies originate out of the deep ocean and from Antarctica. They are not from another planet. There is a difference between extraterrestrial and non-human or alien. What? Wait a minute, hold on. There is a difference in their definition. There's also a difference in the definition between UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and UFO, unidentified flying object. See, unidentified flying object reads into it that you don't know what it is, but you can confirm that it's flying. Now, that's a very specific term. Balloons, technically, don't fly. They're up in the air, they're floating around, and they're objects. And usually it's pretty hard to not be able to identify what a balloon is. But here, this particular one is mislabeled. This is an unidentified aerial phenomenon, because you can't confirm whether it's technically flying or not. UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. UFO, unidentified flying object. A UFO can be a plane. Wait, how can a UFO be a plane? Well, if you can't really readily, let's say its lights are out, let's say it's lost power, and you see something motoring through the sky and you know it's up there, and you can hear the engine, you don't see any lights, you don't see the red or the green or the tail, anything, it's unidentified and it's flying, So it's a UFO. When you can't make any other assertion about it, then it's an unidentified aerial in the air phenomenon. Now here's where this is the game. If you pay attention to any part of the video, pay attention to this part. Extraterrestrial does not necessarily mean non-human. And non-human doesn't necessarily mean extraterrestrial. So when we heard this guy talk about non-human biologics, that doesn't mean extraterrestrial. Let's see if I can give you an example from, I know this is kind of a dumb way to do it, but it's the only way that I could think to do it to make it easy. Star Trek had a lot of different characters from a lot of different places that all had different categorizations. For example, on the left, this is the character 7 of 9, the former Borg drone. Technically, she was a human, but she was born on Turkana 4. So she was technically extraterrestrial, but human. Wasn't born on Earth, wasn't from Earth, born on a human colony. This particular Captain Janeway, she was, of course, born on Earth and not non-human, so therefore she was just regular good old human terrestrial. The one in the middle, Deanna Troi, she was human, but born on Beta Z. So she was an extraterrestrial human. And then, of course, the other characters, the same idea. Same idea here. Okay, here we have 4 humanoid, extraterrestrial, non-human. We have a Romulan, a Cardassian, a Klingon, and a Ferengi. And they are all, check the box, not human, and check the box again, not from Earth. Now here's the things that get a little bit weird. You have all of these, let's see, 1, 2, 3 Bajorans, these 3 here. So they're human, but they're from a planet called Bajor. So they're human, but extraterrestrial. This character in the lower right's a bit unique in the fact that she was non-human, but born on Earth. B'Elanna Torres is the character, half Klingon, half human, but born on Earth. Because at this time, there's aliens. Now, I know this is all make-believe nonsense, but it illustrates the point that they're talking about 2 different things. When you talk about the craft being from Antarctica, when they say, we don't have, when you hear them say, and let's see if I can find it. Blah, 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 U.S. Department of Defense issued statements saying respectively that no evidence has been found for, pay attention, extraterrestrial life, and that there is no verifiable information about possession and reverse engineering of any extraterrestrial materials. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have evidence of non-human alien life. That's terrestrial, meaning from Earth, Antarctica. See, people read this and they're like, oh, they're lying. They have evidence of something. They do. They absolutely do. But they're technically not lying in the statement when they say no evidence for extraterrestrial. Because they know it's not from outer space. They know it's from here. So when this guy's talking about non-human, let's see if I can find it. This guy's talking about non-human biologics, and they say, look, we don't have any evidence of anything extraterrestrial. They're both telling the truth. It's a word game. It's semantics. Somebody needs to confront them with a very specific question. Do you have evidence of any non-human, alien, terrestrial intelligence? Meaning possibly living below the ice sheet in Antarctica or living in the deep oceans. Technically non-human, but terrestrial. This is the game. This is how the government is getting by with this. And this is not the first time they've done it. And I've watched this over and over again. I'm like, nobody asks the right question about how you can have. It's why I've showed like series like Defiance. This is the character on the left is from Defiance, where you have a whole bunch of extraterrestrials that came to Earth and are living on Earth, and they are humanoid. So they're technically human extraterrestrials. But you can also have non-human terrestrials, which I believe is what we call the Greys. And where is this picture? They are non-human terrestrials living in Antarctica with incredibly advanced technologies. And that's how we know. That's why we have prohibitions on anyone visiting. And there's cruises down there. See, so many people got so upset about not being able to visit. They're like, well, you can have a cruise in Antarctica. It's just right around the very tiny tip of Antarctica that you can go. Right just around the peninsula, right by South America. You can't explore the main continent. You can't go anywhere on the main continent. And even if you could, you would need vast resources. Even today's modern day billionaires couldn't afford it to do what would need to be done to uncover the truth. So these are the games they kind of like to play. And that's, it's a hallmark of intelligence and intelligence services, is that they carefully craft word statements. And they reveal things and make you think they're revealing things in a way that leads you down a path. And kind of leaves you with more questions than what you had to begin with. But this is the only logical explanation, where they can continue to say no evidence of extraterrestrial, no evidence of extraterrestrial over and over and over and over again. Because what would evidence of extraterrestrial mean? That means they would have to identify some planet somewhere out there where they can confirm some way, and they don't have any ability to do that, that's where it came from. Like, there's made in Mars or something like that, tag on it. As if anybody from Mars would call their planet Mars. That's what we call the planet. Who knows what they call Earth? Think about that for a minute. It's a lot of, it's kind of the weird things that sci-fi never explains, how everybody can talk to each other in everybody else's language all simultaneously. And it's that sci-fi is kind of a diversion and an escape. And it's a little bit fun, but it's ridiculous, most of it. So when you come to think about it in real terms, that the idea, given the expansive nature of the universe and the nature of time and velocity and how all of that works, the faster you go, the slower time goes. Just to reach light speed you would never be able to return to Earth. Time for you would stop. And as you near the speed of light, time would not pass. But time on Earth would continue to pass. So even at speeds approaching the speed of light, which would still take us centuries to get to the nearest planet, it would never be able to work. So anyway, another topic for another day, but trust me, once again, there's information you need to know. You absolutely need to know this. You need to see it, because you're not going to hear this information anywhere else, and it's all verifiable. It's just things that people haven't thought about in a long time. So I'll leave it there. $1 US. That's it. There is a $5 level over there. I put this video at the $1 level. I think we'll do a $5 video about once a month, maybe twice a month, but we're going to try to keep pumping these out. There's almost 300 videos over there now. We've been doing this for quite some time at Patreon. I know I talk about it in every particular video that we do here on YouTube, but it's critical. It's absolutely critical right now that folks get read in and get their minds right, because some bad stuff is coming down the road that people aren't seeing. So God bless. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.